Opening race weekend of the BMW IBSF Bobsleigh and Skeleton World Cup at a snowy Lake Placid. First action, women's skeleton, and in the second heat, a chance perhaps of redemption for start record holder Elena Nikitina. Last year's World Cup champion only 9th after a slightly sloppy first heat. Second, though, was much tidier, again with the electrifying getaway, and it would shoot her up the order from 9th with a chance maybe of doing something special. Nikitina still led as we got to the top 4 sleds. Tina Hermann first off of the German crew, and after 4th place in the first heat, losing out at the start to Nikitina, but finding speed at the bottom of the track to put the Russian out of the leader's box. Hermann the leader, but with 4 sleds still to go. Mimi Relive was in the bronze medal position after the first heat. She'd taken a bronze medal 3 seasons earlier on this track, but she had to try and find a way to keep her pace low down below the chicane. But Tina Hermann's run, it turned out, was a little tidier. Relive losing ground to go behind by 700ths. The 2 remaining sliders had both won in the last 3 years. Her last 2 races had been victorious at Lake Placid for Janine Flock. The Austrian missed last year's race with health problems, but she was back and feeling on top form. She'd already broken the track record in training, and she seared to the lead with only 1 sled remaining. The only woman standing between Flock and yet another win here was last year's joint winner with Elena Nikitina, Jacqueline Lurling. Like Flock, Lurling is tall and rangy. Like Flock, she's got great ability to generate speed, and with a first round advantage of over 2/10, she was determined not to give it away to claim her first win, the first of the season, from Janine Flock and Tina Hermann. They're the podium in the first skeleton race of the new year. Jacqueline Lurling leads the World Cup rankings. Next up, women's bobsleigh, and the problem with Lake Placid is it's such a tricky track to drive. Polina Nazaruk of Russia, first off the hill in her first ever World Cup race, crashed and didn't get a second heat. She was okay though. In the second heat, our Olympic and World Cup champion Mariama Yamanka was only in 5th position from Heat 1. German needed something a little special with both her teammates ahead of her and North American sliders to boot. Well, she did enough to take the lead away from Brittany Reinbold, but would it be enough for a medal? Stephanie Schneider, 2 bronze medals on this track as a driver and 2 wins as a brakewoman in the early noughties. With Lizette Turner back in the fold, they had a couple of hundreds in hand over Yamanka from the first heat and managed to extend that to a slender lead with 3 to go. Among those 3, amazingly, another German, a rookie, Kim Kalicki with Vanessa Mark, both of them making their World Cup debut, had been in 3rd position after the first heat, only 1200ths out of the lead. Kalicki just slipping behind Stephanie Schneider, and at the line it was narrow, but Schneider was guaranteed a medal. 2 sleds to go, both of whom have got great history on this track. Christine de Bruyn taking the silver medal in February's race. She was in the silver medal position after the first heat, but the Canadian could not hold it together. It drifted away from her, and she would slip down and out of medal contention into 4th position at the line with 1 sled still to come. And that sled of former teammate Kaylee Humphries, because over the summer Kaylee has got married and become an American citizen. So she slides for Team USA, and with Lauren Gibbs behind her, a former winner on this track with Alana Myers, Kaylee Humphries reignited the fire for Team USA on her debut, claiming victory. A fantastic run by Kaylee Humphries, the double Olympic champion, to take the first win of the season from Stephanie Schneider and the remarkable debutante Kim Kalicki. Humphries leads the World Cup standings after race 1. Darkness falling, and the first of 2 two-man bobsleigh encounters for the weekend. Into the second heat, Justin Cripps, a former medalist on this track, taken silvers and bronzes before, found himself in an unexpected 5th place after run 1. But a much tidier getaway and a much better drive from the Canadian put him firmly into the lead. With 4 sleds still to go though, a medal was not guaranteed. 4th after the first heat, just 600s quicker than Krips, Oskars Kybarmanis of Latvia. He had the fastest start of the competition in Heat 1, but down at the bottom of the tricky Lake Placid track, too many errors crept in and he would slip behind by a fraction. The Canadians a step closer to the top 3. 3 to go, and last year's winner of Everything Everywhere, the man who's been undefeated in 2-man since the Olympic Games in February 2018, Francesco Friedrich. Unexpectedly far back, 1800ths off the lead. A much tidier second heat though would see him challenge strongly for the win. 2 sleds to go, and the big surprise from the first heat, that of local boy Hunter Church. He was in 2nd place, only 1400ths off the lead in Heat 1, but a slightly less impressive second run would see him drop out of the medals. Down to 4th place with 1 to go. Still a great result for the American. The final sled on the ice was Johannes Lochner, outstarted fractionally by Friedrich in both runs, but he had enough in hand, letting the sled fly all the way down the Lake Placid track, igniting his run to victory below Shady and charging away to claim the first win of the year, with Friedrich in 2nd place and Justin Krips in 3rd. Hansi Lochner claiming his first win since February 2017 in a 2-man sled. Friedrich in 2nd, Krips in 3rd, regular medal contenders all, and that's the first podium of the season that sees Hansi Lochner with the points lead. A freezing start to Sunday morning in Lake Placid and the men's skeleton. Into the second heat, 11th after the first run, a disappointed Alexander Gassner of Germany lit the track up on an arctically cold morning. He blew his rivals away to take a huge advantage and move up the order. Gassner was still in the leader's box when last year's winner and World Cup champion Alexander Tretyakov came to the blocks, 4th after the first heat. Surely though the Russian rocket would hold on in what was his 113th World Cup start. His big advantage drifted away, and just at the bottom of the track he clung on to move into the lead with 3 to go. In the top 3, Martins Dukors. 5 wins in 8 years on the Lake Placid track, including the 2012 World Championships, 114th World Cup, looking for win number 52 of his career, and he inched ahead of Alexander Tretyakov to go 1 step closer. 2 sleds remained, both from Germany. Axel Jung with only 1 World Cup victory, Koenigsee 2018 under his belt, trying to secure another, but he dropped behind Dukurs early on. Was his chance gone? No, below the chicane he found more speed than the Latvian had and sped away to the line to take the lead with just 1 to go, guaranteeing himself at least a silver medal. Perhaps the biggest surprise of the first heat, though, was the leader, the junior world champion Felix Kaisinger from Germany. In only his 4th World Cup start, the 20-year-old had led the field by a slender margin, but he could not find the consistency he needed on the Lake Placid track and dropped not just out of the lead, but out of the medals. A disappointed junior world champion, leaving victory to Axel Jung, his teammate. Martins Dukurs took silver, Alexander Tretyakov bronze, but it was win number 2 of Axel Jung's career. And it's he who leads the World Cup standings before race 2 in Lake Placid next week. The final action of the weekend came again from the 2-man bobsleigh. Yesterday's bronze medalist Justin Krips found himself in 5th position after the first heat, but he and brakeman Cam Stones turned up the speed at the start, and a great drive by Krips allowed him to bring himself into medal contention for the 2nd straight day. The Canadian flying away from the leader with 4 to go. Fourth place yesterday, fourth place after the first heat. Latvia's Oskars Kīdomanis. Despite winning silver and bronze medals in two-man, he's never yet claimed a gold. Today he had a chance, tied for third after the first heat with Hunter Church of the USA, but he couldn't hold off the flying Canadian Cripps and dropped into second with 3 to go. Hunter Church had been second after the first run yesterday. He was in third place after the first run today, but again couldn't quite find the pace to match the best on the planet, even on home ice, and he slipped a fraction behind Cripps and the Latvian to go into third place. Yesterday, Francesco Friedrich drove himself up into the silver medal position. Today, he was only 400ths off the lead from the first heat, and that's a dangerous place to have him. A searing second run after a start that was just 100th off the track record saw them race away from Justin Cripps, a solid marker put down for victory. The last sled was that of Johannes Lochner. Yesterday he'd led the first heat with the fastest start. Today with Christian Rasp more quick starting. He led the first heat, but he couldn't hold that lead all the way down the track. And a rattle through the chicane was the final nail in the coffin. He'd come up with the silver medal. It was victory number 1 of the season for Francesco Friedrich and Alexander Schuller. Lochner offered his congratulations. He took the silver. Justin Cripps again in third. Kīdomanis again in fourth. Hunter Church again in fifth. And it's Friedrich and Lochner who head the two-man field after the first 2 race weekends. The World Cup Tour stays in Lake Placid next week with skeleton, women's bob and the 4-man bobsleigh.